Acknowledging breast implant illness is what you are suffering from will lead to the decision to remove your implants or not. And if you commit to explanting, well, that's not just committing to having surgery. It's committing to stand face to face with all of the deep-seated insecurities that got us here in the first place. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not intended to substitute or replace the advice of a licensed medical professional. Hey girl, my name is Cheyenne Burnett and I am a lover of French fashion, Italian food, and art of all kinds. I am wildly in love with my ride or die Brad, and we have the coolest kids. Oh, and my breast implants tried to kill me. I went from having all of the cutout photos on my goal board coming true to hanging by a thread in a sea of depression-riddled chronic illness symptoms medical specialists couldn't ever give me answers for. Because what I was suffering from, too many doctors and surgeons today are still claiming isn't even real. I was suffering from breast implant illness. And since you're here with me right now, you're probably wondering if you are too. So whether you're just starting to question if breast implants are dangerous, or you've already come to grips with the very real possibility that breast implant illness is what's happening to you, then this is the show for you, because absolutely everything is on the table here. You're going to hear about some seriously sinister plots, a maze of misdiagnosis, and my very personal fight to live. Some days it'll just be you and me diving deep into my personal experience and what I did to heal more than 40 symptoms I now contribute directly to my breast implants. Other days you'll hear from listeners just like you, facing some of your same challenges. You'll also have the opportunity to hear from top experts as they provide us insight on how it is possible to reverse the damage our breast implants have caused. And we'll even discuss legislative efforts being made right now to drive real change. So think of this as your one-stop shop for a true crime style happy hour with a less boobed bestie, that's me, mixed with the real information that can actually help you. So get cozy and get ready, because you're about to question everything you currently believe about women's health and about beauty, because this is the Explant Secrets podcast. Hello, my beautiful friend. Man, am I glad to be connecting with you today. I have to say, before we dive into today's content, that I am finding such joy in connecting with you. And these episodes have just been such a wonderful way to do that. So I am so glad you're here. And as I was sitting here trying to decide what the most important thing to go over with you today would be, it was honestly really difficult to decide because, frankly, there are so many things that have come up, like the fact that there's so much more to share with you about breast implant history and how implants made it back on the market without the requirement of safety data or clinical trials for a second time, and how the hell they're even still legal to sell to us today without those safety protocols. There's also a bunch of new information about specific cancers that breast implants are causing, and critical healing information you deserve and need if you're going to get better. So I give you my word that I will be covering all of that and more. Today, however, I've decided that the best possible thing that I can focus on is how I can best serve you on your specific journey right now. So I asked myself, what can I give you today that will help you? Yes, you start feeling better right now. And I've decided to answer that question, we really need to get clear on what exactly it is that's happening to you and to your body. So the first thing we need to do is talk about your symptoms. In a recent interview, I was asked what percentage of women with breast implants experience breast implant illness. And though this might be a super unpopular opinion, this is what I said. 80% of women with breast implants report experiencing one or more serious side effects. But I would argue that the other 20% just don't know what to look for. Because depending on your implant's specific ingredients and your immune system's specific responses, you may be experiencing 1 or 101 different symptoms, and you need to know about all of them so that you know what to look for. Now, we do a deep dive on this in Explant Unleashed, my 3-phase breast implant illness healing course, where we talk about specific tests you can take and blood work to avoid and all sorts of stuff. But for the sake of this episode, let's just get really clear here on the fact that all breast implants contain a poisonous cocktail of heavy metals and chemicals. They all have the ability to grow mold, and they all have the ability to leak those profoundly toxic substances into your tissue, doing enormous damage and causing symptoms that range from uncomfortable to super debilitating, no matter if they've ruptured or not. So regardless of if you have saline or silicone, Mentor or Allergan, or if you've had your implants for 15 days or 15 years, addressing all of the ways that breast implants can and do harm to your body will be what gives you the best possible chance at healing. Now, I know that there might be a small or maybe even a big part of you that's avoiding the symptoms list completely because you don't want breast implant illness to be the problem, because you don't want removing your breast implants to be the solution. If that's you, I promise I get it. That was 1000% me, and it was 1000% how I felt. But I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't point out the facts. So I am so sorry if this is at all triggering to you today. But the truth is, if you have breast implants, without question, my friend, they are negatively impacting your immune system right now. If you have breast implants, you are at risk of breast implant caused cancers. And if you have been healthy in the past and now suffer from one or more of the symptoms I'm going to cover with you today, then you are going to have to decide if your health is more important to you than your implants are. And that is so damn hard to do. And not because you're vain and not because you're shallow. No, there is nothing wrong with you. Girl, there is nothing wrong with who you are. We put these things in because we have been led to believe that we can't have full, happy lives without them. We've been made to think we are the problem. We are not good enough. We are not feminine enough, not sexy enough, or that we don't belong. And though we know in our hearts that's not true, acknowledging breast implant illness is what you are suffering from will lead to the decision to remove your implants or not. And if you commit to explanting, well, that's not just committing to having surgery. It's committing to stand face to face with all of the deep-seated insecurities that got us here in the first place. And that is an understandably hard thing to do. Which is exactly why we earn the Explant Warrior badge, because getting through this can absolutely feel like surviving war sometimes. But I promise you, it is a war worth fighting. I can honestly say that explanting, though definitely one of the hardest things I have ever done, has been the best thing I have ever done for both my physical and my mental health. Not only have I been able to reverse more than 40 physical symptoms in less than 12 months, I also have a newfound love and respect for my body because I realize how hard she really worked to literally keep me alive all those years. So let's talk symptoms. Right now, we are going to go over a list of the most common symptoms reported by women with breast implants that have been carefully curated by me, Cheyenne B, and the founders of GPAC, one of my favorite groups and some of my favorite people, which is the Global Patient Advocacy Coalition. And this list reflects the most up-to-date information. It is, however, really important that you understand breast implant illness can affect everyone differently. This is because, like I mentioned, there are more than a dozen possible chemical and heavy metal combinations you could be being exposed to, depending on your specific implants and how they were made. Plus, how your body and your immune system reacts to those poisons can vary greatly. So what we are going to cover is what is most common. But there could certainly be other symptoms you're experiencing that are not listed here that are, in fact, a direct side effect of your implant's impact on your body. So keep that in mind. But the most common symptoms of breast implant illness currently include fatigue. And don't you know that was the first one I experienced? Brain fog was a close second for me, and that's second on the list. Hair loss, hormonal imbalances, digestive issues. Oh man, digestive issues for me was absolutely insane. Hair loss was pretty crazy for me too. Like the amount of hair that came out of my head was absolutely insane. And I kept being told it was because of pregnancy and all that, but it stopped the second I got my breast implants out. So there's that. Hormonal imbalance, like I said, though, very, very common. I also experienced that. Digestive issues, though, were probably between that and the headaches. Digestive issues for me was at the top of the most life affecting because I would go through weeks of constipation and then I would have diarrhea all day, every day for weeks at a time and not be able to leave my house. And so it became really, really impactful to my quality of life. Acne is the second, or not second, sorry. Acne is next on the list. And acne was one thing that I experienced really early on in my breast implant journey. And it got so bad that I literally had to go get shots in my face because the acne was so painful. And I talk about that in my TEDx talk with TEDx Woodinville about breast implant illness because that was one of the first signs that my body was freaking out. Sinus infections, chronic pain, fever, night sweats, cognitive dysfunctions, meaning brain function issues, right? Thought process function issues, temperature intolerance, muscle pain and weakness, skin rashes or blisters, including eczema, joint pain, ear ringing, food intolerances and or new food allergies, dry skin and dry hair, headaches and migraines. I know if you've been listening this far, you know that migraines just about killed me. And that was definitely the worst of my symptoms was the headaches that I endured. That was absolutely life-threatening and miserable. Premature aging, such as liver spots on your face or hands. Girl, I am 32 years old today. As of the date of this recording, I am 32. I started to get a liver spot when I was in my 20s, right on my cheek. And I got my implants when I was 19 and started having premature aging almost immediately. What's cool, though, is with some of the stuff I teach in the Explant Unleashed course, I've been able to reverse that, which is so awesome because I honestly didn't think that I'd be able to undo that liver spot that got really dark on my cheek, but it's just about gone, which I'm so excited about. Next on the list for common Side effects, though, is heart palpitations, weight problems, including being both over or underweight, depending on your body's responses. I personally put on weight like crazy, which there was about 22 pounds that I just, no matter what I did, no matter what exercise routine I did, no matter what diet I did, it didn't matter. I could not get that weight to come off. And as crazy as it is, within the first 3 months of post-explant for me, that weight just disappeared. It just came off. It was amazing. Flu-like symptoms is also on the list. That is something I felt like I always had the flu. Widespread inflammation, that was something I really struggled with. Swollen lymph nodes, for sure. Swollen glands. My glands under my, like in my throat, right on the sides of my throat, were constantly swollen, like I had a sore throat. And it was so miserable. Like I would just wake up mornings without a voice because my glands were so swollen. And that happened weekly for years. Insomnia, poor sleep, definitely struggled with that. Dehydration, definitely struggled with that. Dry eyes, frequent urination, vision problems, numbness or tingling in your fingers, toes, or limbs. Thyroid problems, liver issues. Liver issues is really common. A lot of us have them and don't even know it because heavy metals and chemicals do a lot of damage to the kidneys and the liver. And the liver damage is what causes a lot of these symptoms. So you may not know you have liver damage from your breast implants, but if you're seeing yourself in a lot of these other symptoms, you likely do. Kidney issues, like I said, adrenal problems, anxiety and depression. I suffered from really, really manic depression where manic anxiety, and then definitely with depression as well. And that has gone away, which is amazing. Leaky gut, IBS. Low libido or no interest in sex, that happened for me. Slow healing, that definitely happened for me. A frequent feeling of choking. I didn't experience that, but my mom sure does. Difficulty swallowing, vertigo and dizziness, difficulty breathing, including things like allergy-induced asthma. That was one of the last symptoms to show up for me that really, really pushed me over the edge to get my breast implants removed, because I seemed to be otherwise healthy and could not climb the 12 stairs from my main floor to my son's bedroom without having to stop and take a breath. And it wasn't like my body was tired. It was like my lungs just could not get enough air to my brain. And so I would have to stop and take a breath. And I just could not ever seem to get enough oxygen. And that immediately went away once my breast implants were gone. So that was something that really stood out to me as a massive red flag before I had my breast implants removed, and after having them removed and that went away immediately. There's no better proof, right? Frequent infections, acid reflux, and GERD, those are also on the most common symptoms list. And because breast implant illness starts with a trigger to the immune system, it is also really common for women suffering from BII to be diagnosed with one or more autoimmune diseases. So the most common ones include fibromyalgia, Raynaud's, lupus, Hashimoto's, rheumatoid arthritis, Lyme, scleroderma, cognitive tissue disease, multiple sclerosis or MS, Asia syndrome, and more. Many women have also reported feeling like they're dying or an impending doom feeling. So, how are you feeling? Did one or two of these sound familiar? Maybe you're like me and several did. Like I said, by the time I finally mustered up the courage to remove my implants, I had over 40 of the symptoms we just discussed. But this isn't about me. This is about helping you. So we need to get clear on what's happening to you. So the very best next step is to go to explantsecrets.com. That's explantsecrets.com and take my free Do I Have Breast Implant Illness quiz. In just a few quick minutes, this quiz is going to provide you a full account of all the symptoms you are experiencing right now, and it will email you a printable list to review with your doctor when and if you're ready. So please be brave. Take the quiz now and know that you've got this, and I've got you. So go take that quiz. It's explantsecrets.com. It's right there on the first page, and I will see you in the next episode. Hey girl, so I'm over here giving you a massive virtual hug. Unless, of course, you don't like hugs, then it's a crisp high five. Because you just finished listening to this episode of the Explant Secrets podcast. Did that just go by way too fast for anyone else? If you want more, head over to explantsecrets.com, because under podcast, you'll find a full breakdown of today's episode, show notes, sponsor discount codes, and a bunch of free stuff that I've built just for you. And if you're looking for a new crew of some seriously inspiring women who've been there, maybe to bounce your questions off of, or just gain some much needed support, check out my free Explant Secrets Facebook group. You can find the link in today's show notes. Okay, you Explant Rebel you, as we part ways for now, keep these words close to your heart. You are worthy. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of health, and you are worthy of living life to its fullest. Never forget that you have the power to reclaim your story and redefine your own definition of beautiful. So until next time, please be kind to yourself and don't be afraid to stay just a little bit rebellious. See you soon.